Welcome to Homemaking with Mema. My name is Wendy, and my project today is I'm going to make homemade laundry soap, and I'm going to bring you along with me. All right, so the ingredients that I use to make my homemade laundry soap is the Arm & Hammer Super Washing Soda, and it looks like it's a 3-pound box. The 20 Mule Team Borax box, it's a laundry booster. That's a 4-pound box. And the regular pure baking soda, that's a 4-pound box. And then this here, I grated up the 3 bars of the Fells Naphtha, and I'll insert a picture so that you can see that I did grate it up. It's not cheese, it's actual soap. And what I do is I grate this up about a week before I actually make my laundry soap, and it helps dry it out some. Because as you can see, I have my food processor out here, and I'm going to be processing up the Fells Naphtha soap that I have grated along with the pure baking soda. And that's going to break it down into finer granules so that when I do put it into my laundry machine, I don't have any issues. So in my food processor, I placed a little bit of the pure baking soda in the bottom, and then I placed about half of the grated soap chips in it, and then I put a little bit more of the pure baking soda on the top. And while I process this, my machine is very noisy. It's old. I'll be playing music to it. You see the dust? I forgot. I get a knife too, and I just kind of stir this around in here so I can see if there's any chunks, which there is, which I knew there was going to be because I've been making this for 6 years. So, and I'll bring you in closer so you can see. There's still too big of chunks in there. So I'm going to continue processing this until the chunks are to my satisfaction. Now I'm going to bring you in a little closer so that you can see that those soap chips are a lot finer. So then as you can see, we are outside on my deck. I still have my mask on because it still poofs up some. I set a container on an old chair and I put this into the container. And I put the lid on so that nothing flies into it. So you've seen me pour that first batch that I processed in here. Now I'm going to put the washing soda and the borax in here. so now I'm adding that second batch of the pure baking soda and the Fells naphtha soap that I've ground down, and the rest of the baking soda. Okay, so now that I've got everything in here, this is what it looks like. Hopefully you can see it. I put on gloves, and now I'm going to stir it together and break up any chunks. Then I'm going to let it settle down before I bring it in the house and put it into the containers, because it's still really poofy. And as you can see, even with the lid on the processor, you still get residue everywhere. And so this is a good practice to make sure you wear a mask. You do not want to breathe any of those chemicals in. Even if you think it's safe, it's not safe. Okay, so it has settled down some. So I'm going to put it into these old containers. They're just old food containers from a deli. I used to work at a deli years ago. And they're great for storing things. And I just bring the container inside my tote, and I just fill it up. I'm going to get the lid and put it back out here just till that settles down. Lightly lay the lid on there until that settles down. And then I'll bring you back when everything settles down so we can get a better look at it. So here are the 3 containers with the homemade laundry soap in it. That should last me for a little while, but I am going to make another batch here real soon, because I like to have it all made up, and then it'll last me the whole summer into the early fall. Okay, so here's the finished product in my containers. It didn't fill them up completely, each one, but I'm okay with it. I have plenty of containers down there. I do plan on making a second batch. I had a hard time getting just the pure baking soda in the larger box, and I was just in a hurry. We needed the laundry soap. We were down to maybe 2 more loads of being able to do some laundry, so I needed to get this made. So yes, I will be making a second batch, but this is what I got out of my first batch. I really don't know how much it makes. I just purchase the ingredients, do exactly the same steps every time, and I just go with it. I do want to make sure that you understand that you are using chemicals. You don't want to breathe in baking soda. You don't want to definitely not breathe in the borax. And the superwashing soda is just baking soda. I'm not quite sure what they do to it. It is baking soda, but they do something to it. And just, you don't want to breathe it in. So be sure that you wear a mask when you do it, and do your stirring outside. Like you see me, it's really not the nicest day. I mean, yes, the sun is shining, but the temperatures are still really low. But I did mix it outside. I would have liked to have put it in the containers outside, but it was just still too cold, and I didn't want to bring up a table and put it out there. So, and then when I was mixing all of this, when I was using my food processor, I had my door open with the screen, there, so that I had some fresh air coming in. And because you do get a haze that kind of floats around. It does wipe up. It's not going to hurt anything. The container that I use to mix it in, I just rinse it out in my tub and I set it outside. I do have it outside right now. It's going to air dry, hopefully today. It's cold, so hopefully the temperatures don't freeze whatever water residue is left on it. You don't have to use a soap to clean it because you were making soap in it. So that's a win there. I forgot to tell you how much I use per load. I apologize for that. It is noisy right now because I am doing laundry. I have it written on my containers. It's kind of wore out now. I use 2 tablespoons per load. It's just a practice I've done. I don't know if my family follows along with that, but I only use 2 tablespoons per load, and that's all I've ever used the 6 years that I've been doing my laundry. Now, if I have dirtier clothes, then I will use 3 tablespoons, or a really heavy duty load, possibly 3. But the practice I've been doing is the 2 tablespoons per load. So that's how much I use per load. So that is it. That is my homemade laundry soap. I found it on Pinterest over 6 years ago, and I have been using the same recipe for 6 years. My family's never complained about it. I've never had any issues. I do have a high efficiency wash machine. So the best practice for powders, in my eyes, for a high efficiency, even though it might say on the powdered soaps, it's good for high efficiencies. I don't put it in the unit's soap dispenser on the laundry machine. I put it right into the actual tub itself. And you can do what you want, but that's how I do it. And it's worked out fine for me. I want to thank you for joining me today during this venture of making laundry soap. It doesn't take very long. It may seem like it's going to take a long time, but it doesn't. I think the longest is I wait a week for that Fells naphtha to dry out some so that when it processes in my food processor, it doesn't gum up and stick to the blades. And you don't have to do that. And you don't even have to use Fells naphtha. You can use like that Zote soap. But I've used that before. I didn't really care for that. So I went back to the Fells naphtha. You choose what you want to use. But again, thank you for joining me today. And if you like this kind of content, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And I want you to make it a great day.